In the heart of the digital arena, where fight news spreads like wildfire and speculation reigns supreme, a tremor just ran through the very foundations of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The air, thick with anticipation and the scent of spilled blood, momentarily stilled before erupting into a cacophony of shouts, tweets, and frantic keyboard strokes. The reason? A dual-pronged seismic event that promises to redefine two pivotal divisions. First, the heavyweight behemoths, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl, a rematch, not just announced, but seemingly hurled into existence with the force of a supernova, promising to settle unfinished business and perhaps anoint the true heir to the throne. The mere mention of these two gladiators stepping into the octagon again sent immediate shockwaves, igniting debates across every MMA forum, podcast, and living room. Was it expected? Perhaps. Was it desired? Absolutely. But the sheer finality of the announcement, the confirmation that these titans would once again clash, brought with it a palpable tension, a thrill that only the highest stakes in combat sports can deliver. Fans immediately began dissecting the first, tragically cut short encounter, pondering what strategic adjustments, what new levels of aggression, what raw, untamed power would be unleashed in their second dance. But as the echoes of the heavyweight news began to reverberate, another equally electrifying pronouncement ripped through the fabric of the MMA world, stealing headlines and igniting an entirely different kind of firestorm. From the tranquil mountains of Dagestan, a volcano erupted in the form of Islam Makhachev, the lightweight king, whose reign of dominance has been as absolute as it has been unforgiving. He didn't just speak, he issued a manifesto, a challenge laced with conviction, and a barely concealed disdain for two of the sport's most prominent figures. Ilia Topuria, the newly crowned, supremely confident featherweight champion, found himself squarely in Islam's crosshairs, his recent verbal jabs seemingly having poked the sleeping bear. And then, as if to remind the world of his unparalleled drawing power and his eternal relevancy, Islam swung at the biggest target of all, Conor McGregor. Not with a subtle hint or a respectful nod, but with a scathing, dismissive critique that cut to the core of McGregor's current standing, while simultaneously acknowledging the undeniable allure of such a megafight. "He's done," Islam declared, "but I'll take the money." This wasn't just typical fight banter. This was a declaration of war on multiple fronts, a championship paradigm shift being announced in real time. The MMA community, often craving drama, was suddenly drowning in it. Pundits scrambled, fans furiously typed their opinions, and the very air thrummed with the energy of imminent conflict. We're not merely observing a few fight announcements, we're witnessing a pivotal moment where the biggest names are staking their claims, challenging perceived rivals, and mapping out a future filled with super fights and legendary clashes. This isn't just about who fights whom, it's about legacy, about dominance, about the very soul of the sport being laid bare for all to see. Get ready, because the landscape of the UFC didn't just shift, it just imploded, and from the debris, a new era, fraught with tension and glittering with potential, is beginning to take shape. Buckle up, because this ride has just begun.
Before the torrent storm, there was the meteoric rise of Tom Aspinall, a phenomenon out of Manchester whose trajectory to the summit of the heavyweight division was nothing short of astonishing. A martial artist from a fighting family, Aspinall possessed a rare blend of explosive athleticism, formidable striking, and a surprisingly nuanced ground game for a man of his colossal size. His early UFC performances were characterized by quick, decisive finishes, each victory a clear statement of intent. He wasn't just winning, he was dismantling opponents with frightening efficiency, culminating in a dominant display that catapulted him into the upper echelon of the division. Many hailed him as the future, perhaps even the immediate future, of heavyweight mixed martial arts. Then, in a cruel twist of fate, came the devastating knee injury during his highly anticipated main event clash with Ciryl. The fight, barely underway, ended in agonizing fashion, leaving Aspinall writhing in pain and the MMA world holding its collective breath. The road to recovery for such an injury is long, arduous, and fraught with uncertainty. Doubts crept in. Would he ever truly be the same? Could he recapture that explosive power, that fluid movement, that almost reckless abandon that defined his early career? Yet Aspinall's resolve proved as formidable as his physical prowess. He embarked on a grueling rehabilitation, meticulously rebuilding his body and mind, fueled by an unwavering belief in his own destiny. His return to the octagon against Marcin Tybura was not just a comeback, it was a triumphant resurgence, a statement win that silenced the skeptics. But the true testament to his restored dominance came against the terrifying power puncher Sergey Pavlovich at UFC 295. In a fight that lasted mere seconds, Aspinall showcased his lightning-fast hands and surgical precision, knocking out Pavlovich to claim the interim heavyweight title. It was a performance that solidified his status as an undeniable force, an uncrowned king in a division longing for a new, exciting face. He had overcome adversity, conquered doubt, and staked his claim, all while Jon Jones, the undisputed champion, remained on the sidelines. Aspinall's journey is a powerful narrative of resilience, skill, and the relentless pursuit of greatness, making his impending rematch with Gane not just another fight, but the next crucial chapter in a story that continues to captivate.
Across the cage, awaiting his chance to rewrite history, stands Ciryl Gane, Bonga Man, the sophisticated striker whose journey to the top has been as unique as his fighting style. Gane emerged from the world of Muay Thai, bringing with him an unparalleled understanding of distance management, intricate footwork, and a clinical precision rarely seen in the heavyweight division. He moves with the agility of a man far lighter, his feints and angles constantly confounding opponents who struggle to pin him down. His early UFC career was a masterclass in controlled violence, each victory highlighting his technical superiority and seemingly effortless dismantling of some of the division's toughest contenders. Yet, despite his undeniable skill, Gane's narrative has been tinged with a persistent question mark surrounding his performances in the biggest moments. His first undisputed title shot against Francis Ngannou saw him venture into the grappling realm, a testament to his versatility, but ultimately falling short in a grinding affair. Then, against the legendary Jon Jones for the vacant heavyweight championship, Gane found himself overwhelmed by Jones's wrestling and fight IQ, suffering a swift submission loss. These defeats, while against two of the greatest heavyweights in history, left a perception among some that Gane, for all his brilliance, lacked a certain killer instinct, a final gear to push him over the edge in championship encounters. His first encounter with Aspinall was a tragic anomaly, ending prematurely due to Aspinall's injury, leaving both fighters and fans feeling robbed of a definitive conclusion. This rematch, therefore, isn't merely another fight for Ciryl Gane, it's an opportunity for profound redemption. It's his chance to silence the critics, to prove that he possesses the mettle to not only contend with, but definitively defeat the division's elite. For Gane, this is about solidifying his legacy, about demonstrating that his cerebral approach to fighting can overcome the raw power and explosive aggression of a fighter like Aspinall. The stakes could not be higher. A win here propels him back into undisputed title contention, validating his unique style and reaffirming his place at the apex of the heavyweight division. A loss, however, would force a painful reassessment of his path forward, potentially casting him into the purgatory of gatekeeper status. This is Gane's moment to prove he's not just technically brilliant, but a true champion at heart. Now, let's dissect the impending collision of these heavyweight titans, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane 2. This isn't just a physical contest, it's a profound strategic puzzle, a clash of philosophies where every fraction of a second, every inch of space, and every calculated move could dictate the outcome. Tom Aspinall embodies explosive dynamism. His path to victory often begins with his remarkable speed and power for a heavyweight. He's incredibly dangerous in the pocket, possessing fast hands and devastating one-punch knockout power, as evidenced by his swift dispatch of Pavlovich. But his true advantage, and perhaps Gane's greatest challenge, lies in his grappling. Aspinall's wrestling and jiu-jitsu are elite, allowing him to transition seamlessly from striking exchanges to takedown attempts, capable of stifling opponents on the ground with heavy top control and submission threats. His strategy will likely involve cutting off Gane's elusive movement, forcing the Frenchman against the cage, and unleashing his combinations before seeking opportunistic takedowns. If Aspinall can get Gane to the canvas, the fight changes dramatically, as Gane's ground game, while improving, has shown vulnerabilities. On the other side, Ciryl Gane is the epitome of technical striking and evasive brilliance. His path to victory relies on maintaining distance, utilizing his unparalleled footwork to stay out of range of Aspinall's power shots, and picking him apart with a diverse arsenal of jabs, straight punches, and punishing kicks to the legs and body. Gane's ability to constantly shift stances and manage the distance makes him incredibly difficult to hit cleanly. He will likely aim to frustrate Aspinall, draw out his aggression, and then counter-strike with precision. Can Gane withstand Aspinall's early storm, navigate his grappling threats, and force the fight into the later rounds where his cardio and technical mastery might shine? Conversely, can Aspinall penetrate Gane's defensive shell, land that fight-ending shot, or secure a crucial takedown that could lead to a finish? The first round will be critical. Aspinall will seek to impose his will immediately, while Gane will look to establish his rhythm and gauge Aspinall's pressure. This tactical dance will be an enthralling display of contrasting styles, raw athletic power versus refined technical artistry, promising a heavyweight battle that is as much a chess match as it is a fistfight. The margins are razor thin, and the fighter who executes their game plan with greater precision and resilience will ultimately emerge victorious. While the heavyweight division was reeling from its momentous announcement, the lightweight king, Islam Makhachev, has been anything but silent, ensuring his voice reverberates throughout the entire MMA landscape. Fresh off yet another dominant title defense, solidifying his reign as arguably the pound-for-pound best fighter on the planet, Islam has turned his formidable gaze outwards, issuing challenges that have sent shockwaves across multiple divisions. His recent pronouncements weren't mere suggestions, they were direct, unapologetic callouts aimed squarely at two of the sport's most talked-about figures, Ilia Topuria and Conor McGregor. Islam's words regarding Ilia Topuria, the newly crowned featherweight champion, carried a distinct tone of skepticism, mixed with a calculated provocation. Topuria talks a lot, Islam stated, but he hasn't fought real wrestlers. He needs to prove himself against a grappling threat before he can talk about being the best. This wasn't just idle chatter, it was a direct challenge to the confidence and claims of a champion who has himself been vocal about his ambitions across weight classes. Islam, ever the strategic operator, understands that a fight with Topuria would be a monumental champion versus champion clash, a true test of skill, and a massive boost to his legacy. But it was his comments regarding Conor McGregor that truly ignited the social media inferno. With a dismissive wave, Islam declared, "McGregor is done, he's finished, he's not the fighter he once was." Yet in the same breath, he acknowledged the undeniable allure of such a mega fight, adding, "I'll fight him, but it's just for the money, not for a real challenge." This encapsulates Islam's calculated approach. He respects the financial magnitude of a McGregor fight, but simultaneously aims to devalue McGregor's sporting relevance. These aren't just the words of a champion seeking opponents, they are the declarations of a man forging an undisputed legacy, one who believes he has cleared out his division and now seeks new mountains to conquer, new statements to make. Islam Makhachev is not content with merely holding the belt. He wants to be recognized as an all-time great, and he sees these high-profile callouts as the next logical step in his relentless ascent to legendary status. The lightweight division, under Islam, is a kingdom expanding its borders, and he is its unyielding emperor, daring anyone to challenge his sovereignty.
Islam Makhachev's targets are not arbitrary. They are the most prominent and polarizing figures in their respective spheres. First, Ilia El Matador Topuria, the undefeated featherweight champion, represents the new wave of fearless, self-assured fighters. Topuria's rise has been nothing short of spectacular, marked by devastating knockouts and a calm, almost predatory confidence that radiates from him. He possesses a dangerous blend of crisp boxing, formidable grappling, and an unwavering belief in his own destiny. His crowning achievement, a knockout victory over the legendary Alexander Volkanovski, was a definitive statement, not just of his skill, but of his mental fortitude and ability to perform under immense pressure. Topuria has openly expressed his desire to conquer multiple divisions, even calling out Islam himself, thus making Islam's counter-challenge a direct response to a rival champion's ambition. This is a clash of champions, a potential super fight that pits two seemingly invincible forces against each other, with the added intrigue of a significant weight class difference. For Topuria, a fight with Islam would be the ultimate test, a chance to solidify his claims of pound-for-pound greatness by overcoming a stylistic nightmare. Then there's Conor McGregor, the notorious one, whose name alone still conjures images of record-breaking pay-per-views, iconic knockouts, and an unmatched aura of superstar celebrity. Despite his recent inactivity and a string of losses, McGregor remains the sport's biggest draw, a magnet for attention, and a lightning rod for controversy. For any fighter, a call-out of McGregor is a calculated gamble, promising immense financial reward, but also an intense media circus, and the pressure of facing a man who, even if diminished, still possesses fight-altering power and an unshakable belief in his own legend. Islam's challenge to McGregor, while tinged with dismissiveness, acknowledges the undeniable symbolic value of such a fight. It's about capturing the largest possible audience, about etching one's name into the annals of history by facing the biggest star the sport has ever seen. McGregor's prolonged absence and the severity of his leg injury have led many to question if he can ever return to his prime form. Yet his mere presence, his continued training updates, and his occasional verbal jabs keep him firmly in the conversation.
These two individuals, Topuria and McGregor, represent contrasting challenges for Islam. One, a legitimate champion seeking to prove himself, the other, a legendary figure whose financial gravity remains unparalleled. Both present unique opportunities for Islam to further cement his already formidable legacy.
The ripple effects of these explosive announcements and audacious callouts are profound, reshaping the entire landscape of the UFC and setting the stage for an unprecedented era of high-stakes matchups. In the heavyweight division, the winner of Aspinall versus Gane 2 will emerge as the undisputed #1 contender, creating an undeniable mandate for a title unification bout. But against whom? The ghost of John Jones, the reigning undisputed champion, looms large. Will Jones, after his highly anticipated clash with Stipe Miocic, choose to ride off into the sunset, leaving the division open for a new undisputed king? Or will he accept the challenge of facing a hungry, in-form Aspinall or a redeemed Gane? The outcome of Aspinall-Gane 2 could very well dictate the immediate future of the heavyweight division, determining whether we enter a new era with a fresh champion or witness the final chapter of a legendary career. The stakes extend far beyond just the belt. It's about defining an era. Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev's verbal broadsides against Ilia Topuria and Conor McGregor have thrown the lightweight and featherweight divisions into a state of thrilling anticipation. A potential Islam versus Topuria super fight would be a champion versus champion spectacle rarely seen, pitting two dominant forces from different weight classes against each other in a battle for pound supremacy. Such a fight would inevitably lead to questions about weight cutting, future divisions, and the very concept of best in the world across divisions. What would this mean for contenders like Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier in a lightweight division, or the featherweight contenders vying for Topuria's attention? And the ghost of McGregor, however distant, continues to cast its long shadow. Should he make a triumphant return, a fight with Islam, despite the champion's dismissive remarks, would undoubtedly become the biggest event in UFC history, shattering pay-per-view records and bringing unparalleled global attention to the sport. The implications are staggering, opening up a Pandora's box of potential dream matchups, rivalries, and legacies yet to be fully written. These developments aren't just about individual fights. They are about the strategic positioning of champions, the hunger for super fights that transcend divisions, and the relentless pursuit of ultimate greatness. The very fabric of the UFC is being rewoven before our eyes, promising a future brimming with unprecedented excitement and legendary clashes.
The world of mixed martial arts is a breathtaking kaleidoscope of constant change, of epic highs, devastating lows, and moments that etch themselves into the annals of sporting history. The recent announcement of the Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane rematch, coupled with Islam Makhachev's audacious, division-shaking callouts, isn't just news, it's a profound testament to the sport's electrifying, unpredictable, and endlessly compelling nature. We are witnessing in real time the unfolding of new chapters, the emergence of fresh rivalries, and the tireless, almost primal pursuit of ultimate greatness that drives every fighter into the hallowed octagon. From the thunderous roars and concussive power of the heavyweight division, where titans collide with seismic force, to the surgical precision and grappling mastery of the lighter classes, where champions carve out legacies with every dominant performance, the UFC continues to deliver unparalleled drama, spectacle, and moments that leave us breathless, yearning for more. The questions are plentiful, the answers eagerly anticipated. Will Aspinall solidify his claim as the future of heavyweight MMA, or will Gane achieve the redemption he so desperately seeks? Will Islam Makhachev continue his reign of terror, daring any champion, regardless of weight, to challenge his supremacy, and perhaps even lure the sport's biggest star back into the fold for one last earth-shattering dance? Every announcement, every call-out, every word spoken by these warriors shapes the narrative of the UFC's evolving future. It reminds us that in this sport, nothing is guaranteed, and everything is possible. The landscape is perpetually shifting, alliances are forming and breaking, and the hunger for legacy and gold is palpable in every single contender. So, as the dust settles on these initial pronouncements and the groundwork is laid for the battles to come, one thing remains crystal clear: the fight game never sleeps. And for millions of fans around the globe, from the most dedicated connoisseur to the casual observer, the best is undoubtedly yet to come. Prepare yourselves, for the coming year promises to be nothing short of legendary, an era where every punch, every takedown, and every verbal jab adds another unforgettable stroke to the grand canvas of mixed martial arts. The future of fighting is now, and it's exhilarating.